All right, Terry, you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay.
Awesome. You're good. Let me turn my video on. All right, cool. Well, thank you everybody for being on. Tara and Jason were gracious enough to give us their time, and Tara's got an obligation, so we're going to let her go first here. And Tara, I mean, thank you so much for taking your time, obviously, to talk with us. It's always a pleasure having you on. Uh, you're always entertaining. But can we start with hearing your story a little bit? Just tell us a little bit about your stream story, kind of what you did before stream, what you're doing now, and how stream has kind of changed your life.
Yeah, thank you. Hey, thanks, Steve, for having me on. I started Stream back in July of 2012. A friend of mine came running across the street and was like, I had this amazing opportunity I want to share with you. And to be honest with you, I was just like, no way. I was going through a lot in my life. I was going through a divorce. I had just lost my home. I was filing bankruptcy, and my son was battling a deadly form of childhood cancer. So to say my plate was very full, it definitely was. But I thank her every day for being persistent and staying on me, and just basically forcing me to take a look at the business. So I started, and I just got started, and I was a slow starter. I didn't, it took me a little bit of time to get it up off the ground and running. And I actually only joined Stream to make a few hundred extra dollars. So initially when I got in, this was not to be a career change or take me out of a job, but 6 years later, that's exactly what it has done. So like I said, it was I was about 3 years into the stream business, and I walked away from my job. I still do some nursing part-time here and there because I want to, not because I have to. So that's pretty much my story, Steve. That's how I got started.
Wow. So I'm sure that that extra time being able to walk away from your job, I'm sure that was great. Being a mother, having two kids, I'm sure that was pretty life changing. Being able to spend that much more time at home with your kids.
Yeah,
And
just to know that I don't have to, I could be at every football game, or I could, I didn't, if my son had doctor's appointments, I didn't have to ask anybody permission to have off work to do what I needed to do.
Yeah, and that's amazing, and that's what we do here at with the stream opportunities. We give people freedom, so freedom to do stuff like that. So that's awesome. So Tara, I know one of your specialties, I guess, would be customer gathering. I know that's one of your strong suits. So can you explain to us kind of your technique, maybe some of the verbiage you use, your just overall philosophy when it comes to gathering customers?
Yeah, so I would say for the new people who are just joining and just starting to gather customers, the most important tip I could give them is to know their why. I know when I first started doing stream and I was going to family members and friends, I was able to explain to them why it was I was doing this business and how them being my customer would, help me and my family get out of the situation that we were in. So for me, like I said, knowing your why and being able to insert that when asking a family member or a loved one to become your customer um, so it was very super important, and definitely helped when going to gather customers with family members. So like for example, like when you would go to your mom, you'd say, if I could save you or match you on what you're currently paying, would you be willing to become my customer? So those kinds of techniques work when you're dealing with family members. So I always say there's a different approach for a family member, and there's a different approach for somebody that you don't really know, because somebody you don't really know isn't going to really care about your why or why you're doing stream. So for cold market customer gathering, which is where I'm at 6 years later, I mean, every one of my family members are my customer. So I have to do things a little differently when going out and, trying to get customers. And, when you're out in the cold market and you're having a conversation with somebody that I don't say just jump right into asking them to be your customer, but after you've built some rapport with them, you can say some things to them like, do you shop your electric? I mean, that phrase right there has gotten me a lot of customers because I'll say, do you shop your electric? And they'll say, what do you mean? And so that opens up the gateway for me to be able to go in and explain to them what it is I mean by, do you shop your electric? Um, Another one I use is, who do you buy your electricity from? That's another, I could say, line that I use when dealing with people that I don't know. Um, and I want to be honest with you. I think after I was just thinking about this today, Steve. I was going through my back office. I was looking at my back office, and it's funny because I've only ever gained 37 customers myself. So would I say that I have 90 some customers at this point, and my current customers have been my best customer gatherers. So meaning, once you gain a base of customers and you're keeping them renewed and they trust you and things like that, you have to go back to the customers you currently have, because at that point you don't even have to sell yourself to anybody. They'll sell the service for you. So think about that. That's 60 some customers came from, yeah, about 58 customers came from my current customers that I already had. So I think a lot of people miss that if when when somebody's up for renewal and I call them to renew them, I always ask them for referrals. And that's, basically how I've been able to get as many customers I have. And I just think if people understood the power in that, they would use it more often.
Yeah, I mean, those are obviously great tips. Definitely, it sounds like you really rely and leverage trust. So you already have a customer, so you use that trust because they already trust you since they are a customer to go to people that already trust them. And you're just kind of just the domino effect almost takes place, just leveraging the trust.
Right. So, for example, I had this girl, Christy, that is my customer, and she's been my customer for a while. She moved and bought a house. I was able to bring her in under the VIP rate. She re-signed with her new house. We got her a great rate, and she put a post on Facebook for me that brought me 8 customers.
Wow.
So,
Did
so
you
she
did you ask her to do that?
no, she just did it. She just did.
Oh,
But
wow.
I've asked people to do it before, and I publicly thank my customers sometimes on Facebook too. Um, that's another way of getting customers, because then they'll see like, oh, well, she switched with her. And then that just creates conversations on their feeds about, well, who did you go with? And, so like I said, it's just leveraging social media in the correct manner,
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And then also, I think another really important thing that I heard you touch on a little bit is education. So the questions that you're asking sounds like they're more curiosity questions, like who do you buy your electricity from? And those are more curiosity kind of probing questions to get them curious, obviously, and then you can then come in and you can educate them.
Right. Right. Yeah. So like I said, I educate them as far as they want to be educated. Some people, they don't understand rates. They don't, so the first thing I always say is, could you do me a favor and shoot me a picture of your most current bill that you have so that I can do a free review of your bill? No obligations. It doesn't mean you have to be my customer. Just let me take a look at your bill. I'm going to call you when we're going to go over your bill. And, sometimes it's an easy switch. So with a third party, they're paying way more. And so I can do some math. But sometimes with Stream, we're apples to apples. We're a little bit below and it's not that much money. And that's when you have to learn to sell yourself and sell your relationship, because if you can't, maybe it is only $2 or $3 of savings, but they're not going to have to worry about falling out of contract. They don't have to call a stranger. They can call me if they have any issues. So I'm very big on selling myself, and that, the person that they call if they have any issues is me, not an 800 number.
Yeah, and I think that's big. I mean, you have to think about what differentiates us from, all our competitors. And, there's 100 other suppliers in the state. So what differentiates us from, any of them? And that's us. You have a friend, somebody that you can trust watching your bill and managing your account. So,
Absolutely.
yeah, great stuff. Well, Tara, again, thank you so much. I know you have to run, so I want to keep this short for you. And I really appreciate your time. You're one of the best, and it was good talking to you. Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks, guys. Good night.
Sure. Good night. All right. So with that said, thank you so much to Tara. Again, she is one of the best, just one of my best friends as well. Just great person, somebody that you want to get to know. So with that being said, I'm going to introduce my next very good friend as well. This guy is somebody that I've gotten to know in this business. He's been a role model. He's been somebody that I absolutely admire, and just an incredible leader, somebody I learn from, and we talk all the time. Number 35 money earner, Jason Baez from Harrisburg, PA.
Yes, sir. How are you?
Good, buddy. Good. Thanks for being on, man. I appreciate it.
Hey, no problem, Steve. I appreciate all you do for everybody out in the field. So it's the least I can do is give back a little bit when asked.
And that's what this is all about, guys. I mean, Jason and I, and same with Tara, actually, we don't profit at all. But these guys agreed to be on here just to help give back to the field and give some of their experience and some of their leadership, some things that they learned along the way back to you guys to help you grow your business. So, of course, we always appreciate that. So, that being said, Jason, why don't you tell us your story, tell us your background, what you did prior to Stream, what you do now, what Streams have been able to do for you?
Sure, absolutely. Well, I started in Stream. It was October 1st of 2013. And prior to Stream, I spent 14 years in the wireless industry. I worked for companies like AT&T and Verizon. I'm sure you heard of both of them. And that was basically my forte. I knew the wireless business like the back of my hand. Worked in every aspect of it, from a sales rep to a business-to-business rep to a B2B manager to a store manager. I've even owned a string of AT&T stores back in the early 2000s. So as far as marketing sales goes with wireless, I know that business very well. In 2013, I had actually sat down and finally took a look at the Stream opportunity. And why I say finally is because in 2011, I got a phone call from a friend's mom all the way down in Dallas, Texas. See, I happened to be friends with her son that lived here in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. And she had called me and said, my company's getting ready to launch in Pennsylvania. And I spoke to my son, James, and he told me you're the perfect person for this business. I'd like to sit down and share this opportunity with you. And at the time, I had my hands full. I was pretty busy, and I really just wanted to get to the bottom line. What was it? What is it? And I, through a series of questions, was able to find out it was network marketing. And when I found out it was network marketing, that was it for me. I tell you, that wall went up, and that's where it stopped for 2 whole years. I was not a fan of network marketing. In fact, this is my first ever network marketing adventure. Now, I will tell you, I was married at one point, and my wife she was a stay-at-home mom, and we were starting a family, and we were into our second child at the time, and she came to me with this great idea about getting involved in this network marketing company. I didn't know anything about network marketing, but you know that saying, happy wife, happy life, right? So I just went ahead with it. Went along with it. It was Mary Kay. It was makeup. She thought the products were great. She could do really well in it. I gave her all my blessings. I think initially it was about $500, a little basket of all kinds of different stuff she could get, her business kit. And what I didn't know is that they were going to put us on this auto ship and start sending this to us every other day. Along with that came another friend, and that friend also introduced her to network marketing, only to a health and product business. So here we are in the first month. She's juggling 2 network marketing businesses. Neither of them panned out to do well. In fact, it only cost me a couple $1,000s. Remember, she's a stay-at-home mom. I was the one who had to pay that. So it left me a bad taste in my mouth. Honestly, I didn't want any parts of network marketing after that. But I did have this one guy that stayed on me. He bugged me and bugged me and bugged me. I didn't really trust this guy, so I didn't feel the connection there. But after bugging me so many times, I had to say, all right, look, man, I'll make a deal. I'll come look at that business opportunity if you promise me one thing. And he said, what's that? I said, if you promise to never ask me again. So I showed up on a Tuesday night, really with all intentions of saying no. I went, sat down, saw it. It actually opened my mind. I had no clue what I was actually looking at. I thought they were all the same. Here, this was a service-based business offering electricity, something that's already built into your budget. You got to pay it with or without me. And so that had me interested. Now, I went there to say no. So obviously I went up to Kyle afterwards and I said, look, man, I like what you had to offer. I just want to think about it. Give me a little time to think this over. So a couple weeks go by. I'm at home. I'm flipping through channels. I come across an investment talk show. Here they're interviewing Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett's talking about deregulation of energy and talking about investments, talking about the largest transfer of wealth in human history. And at that point, my mind is spinning. I'm thinking about this company that I just saw, and I get on the phone. And I actually went to initially reach out to the lady that reached out to me back in 2011. I didn't have her number, so I go to call her son. Her son changes his number. I then go on Facebook. He's not on Facebook anymore. I have no way to get a hold of him or her. So I then reached out to this girl that I knew was in the business, and she never marketed to me in any way. And so I reached out to her, asked her a few questions. I felt like I could trust her. I partnered with her. Um, and the rest is kind of history. I mean, the first month I got into business, I really didn't take it all that serious. I set a goal, one goal, and that goal was to get free energy. You know, Presley always talks about what Zig Ziglar quotes. You know, go as far as you can see. When you get there, you'll be able to see further, right? Well, I could see free energy, and that was my first initial goal: 15 electric customers, free energy. Boom, I'm going after it. And I did everything I could in my first month. I mean, I was working about 60 hours a week as a store manager on top of being a dad. Wasn't many hours left. I was working about 6 days a week, but I found some time to insert a customer here, prospect a customer there. And as I went along over my 30 days, I actually did get my 15 customers. And here it's a Tuesday night. I rearranged my schedule so I could start going to this Tuesday night meeting in Harrisburg. And I went there and I met a gentleman named Brian Webb. He was a senior director, and he just reminded me of myself. I was listening to him, and I said, that's my guy. That's who I'm going to approach after this meeting. So I went down and started talking to Brian. Here it turns out Brian's wife and I went to school together. We had a lot in common. And I asked Brian, I said, hey, man, I got off this weekend, which I really don't ever have off a full weekend. And I'd like to know if you're available. I'd like to take you out for lunch, pick your brain, learn a little more about this business, and see what else I can do with it. And he said, you know, I'd love to, but I'm actually going up to Rochester, New York. I'm going to spend the weekend up there with Catherine Henley, Bruce Barlar, and meet Steve Fisher. And I'm like, whoa, Steve Fisher, that's my upline leader. You know, that's my ED. That's the number 2 guy. That's the guy in all the videos. You know, I was super excited to hear his name. Was never able to connect with him or haven't reached out to him. I thought maybe I was too small down on the totem pole, so I never tried that. But I thought that, man, this is my in. And this sounds kind of weird, 3 men in a hotel room. So let me ask him, is there room for a 4th? And I did that. And he said, absolutely. Would you like to come? So this was a Tuesday night. Thursday, he calls me. He says, Jason, just wanted to check in with you and see if you're still up for that Rochester trip tomorrow. And I said, absolutely, Brian. I said, my bags have been packed since Tuesday night when I got home. I'm excited and I'm ready. And he was like, wow, I'm really shocked. I was like, why? He said, because people in this business say one thing and do another. I said, well, I'm not that dude. I'm the guy that's going to tell you what I'm going to do, and I'm going to do it. And so my bags were packed. I'm ready. Friday came. I went up to Rochester, hung out with Steve, Catherine, Bruce, Brian for the entire weekend. I connected with these business-minded people, and it really opened my mind up. They also taught me some things that I needed to be taught, in which I came back ready to go. On my way back, I started making that list as long as I could, just like Steve told me to. And I started going through each name. And I'm looking for people that have that are well-liked and trusted, that have influence on others, that are hungry and motivated, and obviously have $199, right? So those are the things I'm looking for as I'm making this list. I'm checking off each name. Are they hungry? Are they motivated? You know, are they well-liked? Are they trusted? And those that have the most checks, I'm circling. And then I start texting and making phone calls. By the time I got home, I had 2 appointments, and my first 2 business partners were put on my team that very same night, driving home on a Sunday night from Rochester, New York, which is about 4.5 hours. So I felt like I was on a mission at that point, and my mission was to promote and continue to grow as a leader and a person in this business. And within my 6th week in the business, I actually promoted to managing director. We didn't have a regional director at the time. At 4 months flat, did senior director. Felt pretty excited about that. You know, at the time, it was the top 3%. You were a big dog if you hit senior director. And I was really excited about that level. And here it was 4 months into the business. I registered for Ignition. I'm going to my first Ignition as a brand new senior director. I go there. They come out with this crazy promotion for attending, right? That's why it's important to attend. You just never know what they're going to have. And they had this amazing promotion here. And, man, let me tell you, I came back. It was February of 2014. Within 2 weeks, made about $10,000. And I said, that's it. I'm leaving my job. I left my job. I was called crazy and everything under the sun. Said I was going to be back. I have never been back ever since. I continue to strive and grow in this business as a leader and help many others along the way. At 28 months, hit executive director. And for the last 2 years, I've been listed as number 42 and number 35. So I'll tell you, this company has totally changed my life. Today, this is all I do. I don't work a full-time job. I get to call my own shots. I get to work with the people I like and love the most. And, it's been a blessing, Steve, getting to know people like you and everybody else on this call. I mean, I'm looking at the names on here. There's Kathleen Finley, one of my favorite down in Texas. I would have never known her if it wasn't for this business. Think about that. Uh, um, Walter Sansbury, for example, Walter and I went to school together, but we reconnected through this business because I was at a home meeting that one of my associates invited him to. We did go to church and he ended up going to another church. We reconnected through this business, just things like that. Richard Greenway, I'm looking at his name. I would have never known Rich. And Rich is one of my good buddies now. I mean, it's just amazing what this business and company has done and opened up the doors to so many other people that I've become really close friends with. And I'm just very grateful for that.
Yeah, man, I definitely second that. I mean, the network of people and the friends that you get to make is just second to none for sure. So, you had mentioned how you've been in the business for a little bit. When you came in, there wasn't a regional director role. What are some of the changes that you've seen, especially lately, that you think are going to kind of help catapult us in the next future years? What are you looking forward to? What are some changes coming that you expect or that you think?
Well, everybody before our time always tells you how hard it was or the things that went on prior, right? So, here I am about 5.5 years into this business now. And, people that were in the business 8 years, 10 years of what it was like in the beginning. And so I love some history. And I'll tell you, our history of what it used to be compared to what it is today is night and day. I mean, guys, like when we started, it was a lot harder. And again, I heard these same stories from other people that were in it before I was, right? So I just watched how this company evolved over time. And when I got involved, it was electricity and natural gas in limited areas. It wasn't in every area. Also, we were in just 6 states. And that was 2013 going into 2014. 2015, we launched wireless and virtual MD and those other services that came along with that, which opened up the doors to other territories and other services, other ways to get paid residual income. But along with that, look at the regional director and national director levels being introduced. It allowed us 2 new leadership levels within our company. It's created more money. I mean, you look at now we can get paid on Q3, Q10, and Q15, where before we used to just get paid on that Q3 when our associates go out and get qualified. We never got paid on 10 and 15. You look at the leadership levels, you look at all that extra money, and then you throw on top of all the incentives, the cars, the trips, and everything that people even at an MD level can receive, which is phenomenal if you think about it. Here I am. I finally hit number 42. I'm really excited. I'm like, whoa, I get a car finally, really pumped. And then they announced that they're coming out with this 300 club program and MDs and SDs get a car. And I'm like, whoa, if they only had that back when I started, right? But, just watching the company, how it evolved is really, really exciting. But to say that we're done is an understatement. I'm going to tell you right now, we're not done. We have Steve Fisher. It doesn't get better than that, man. I tell you, that guy is working his tail off down there along with Ryan Morris, Adrian, of course, our CEO, Bouncer, our fearless leader and founder, Rob Snyder. We have a great core of people down there. I mean, every single person down there, Chelsea, Kimberly, I mean, everybody, Blake. I mean, we just have a nice core of people. I think that this is the first time that we've had such a core of leaders running our corporate office for us that are all on the same page. And I feel very good about that. I feel like I could go to sleep at night feeling like I don't have to worry about what's going down there, although it's hard for me to go to sleep at night because I'm thinking about what's going to take place, right? And so we talk about growing as a company, and we are definitely on pace to do so. Just through wireless alone. I mean, I have been really following this whole Sprint T-Mobile merger, and I tell you, it has got me so excited. I cannot even wait till this whole thing takes place because of the stuff I've been reading and staying on top of. I'm not saying this is definitely going to happen, so please don't go out there and quote me on social media and start telling everybody at BP's Jason said this is going to happen, because you know and I know things can obviously fall apart, right? But from what I'm gathering, from what I'm seeing, this deal is about a done deal, as the FCC has already okayed the merger of the two, allowing them to already do it without the proper procedures of the courts. So they're already behind the scenes starting to put all these things together, right? Well, you're looking at two large customer bases coming in together, two large networks coming in together. They're two of the four of the big four that provide the network out here. One's a GSM, one's a CDMA. They own all this spectrum. They're going to merge these two companies together and make them one powerhouse. They're going to catapult AT&T and go number 2 in the industry, now leaving a big 3 instead of a big 4. And it's going to be called T-Mobile, run by John Lager, who's the CEO now of T-Mobile. Very aggressive CEO. And I'll tell you, the last thing I read about John was he had mentioned about wanting to go into the homes and basically capture the consumer by saving them money, bundling services through wireless, streaming of cable, and in-home internet. And that has got me super excited, especially the in-home internet part. There's a company that Sprint purchased called Clear. And years ago, they said it was a dumb idea. Sprint should have never got into that business, purchased that company. They badmouthed them in every which way. Here it turns out to be one of the best purchases ever, right? Along with that, T-Mobile on the other side goes out and purchases this streaming cable company called Layer 3. Well, it just so happens they're buying this, they're buying this. Now all of a sudden they're merging. Guess what comes with that? A cable and an in-home internet. Boom, they're married. Well, isn't that what it takes today to run cable, streaming, right? Isn't everything running by internet today? Home security, cell phones? I mean, everything's being operated by internet. I find internet to be as large, if not larger, than electricity. What I'm also excited about is the fact that T-Mobile's an international-based company. They're called Deutsche Telekom. They're huge in Europe, and they're actually viewed and looked at as the Verizon over there. So they have a big bank account. They're led by a fearless leader here in the United States. And this man is aiming to break up the love fest that is going on in our country with cable and internet today. You have Time Warner, you have Fios, you have Comcast. These companies, believe it or not, are working together. They're not working for you as the consumer, which isn't typical. They're actually agreeing to stay in certain areas to allow the prices to stay jacked up. Well, John Lager isn't having that. When this deal is completed, you're going to see how that in-home internet, that in-home cable streaming option, that 5G wireless combination of the two being merged together. I mean, a lot of exciting things here. And then you also look at the possibility of going international. Guys, that has got me so jacked up right now. I wish I could fast forward 6 months to a year from now and see where this whole thing lays out, because these next 6 months to 12 months are going to be big for us as far as all of this being in place. And I'm really excited about what's going on here at Stream. I mean, we're right in the middle of all this. This could be our next big thing. This could be our next big service. This could be the service that goes nationwide and really, catapults us to that next level in network marketing. And so I'm very excited about that. And and I know that we are moving to a budget, or not a budget, a bundle program, as you can see now with the gas, wireless, and electric. Bouncer's a huge fan of that. He's been very adamant about putting together a bundle of services. And I'll tell you why. If you look at the insurance agencies, they have mastered this years ago. They put health, life, car, renters, vacation, boat insurance. I mean, you name it, tons and tons of different insurances together under one umbrella to service you as a customer. When you have 3, 4, 5 policies with one company, are you likely to leave? The answer is no. You're content, you're comfortable, you're staying put. So it keeps the customer even longer. Well, look at the flip side of that. That residual for us stays longer, right? Those customers stay longer. That's what we want. We want our residuals to catapult. Think about it right now. You might be in an area where it only serves electricity, and wireless might be just kind of so-so right now. But give it 6 months to a year, the two networks merge together. Wireless is great. All of a sudden, here comes an internet and a cable option. Now you have internet, cable, wireless, electric, 4 services, 1 household. Do you see where I'm getting at with this? I mean, guys, that's what keeps me up at night. That's what keeps me super excited. And I just, again, wish we could move this 6 months to a year from now, because I'm ready to get into this. I'm ready to go hard, just like I did back in the day. Cell phone days.
You get a little fired up now.
I am a little fired up. I know
No,
one
that's
of
good.
you wanted me to go over was discuss why your why is so important.
Mhm.
You want me to do that now?
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
All
let's
right.
do that, and then we'll wrap it up.
Okay, sounds good. I wrote something out here that I actually had. Your why is the most important thing you guys can have individually as a person. Benefits of knowing your why. One, obviously, is to stay focused, right? If you know your why, it's at the forefront of your mind. It's there every single day. I often say if your why can make you cry, there isn't a thing that will stop you, right? Just recently, I made a post on my Facebook team page, and I said, show me a person that gets emotional over their why, and I'll show you a future stream leader. There's a lot of truth to that. It allows you to stay focused. When you know your life's purpose, it becomes easier to focus on what matters most. So knowing your why is extremely important. It also makes you feel passionate about your goals, right? You know why you're doing it. You know why you're pursuing your goals. It gives you that purpose. You're running after it, and it makes you passionate about it. So knowing your why is extremely important. It also gives your life clarity. As I mentioned, it's on the forefront of your mind. You know what you need to do. You know what you need to accomplish. It makes you feel gratified. It enables you to live a value-based life, right? It makes you live with integrity, knowing your why, knowing you're doing this for your own purpose, your own reasons. My why is my kids, my grandson, right? I want to leave them something far greater than my parents and grandparents ever left me. And I want to make sure that they're able to live the life that they've always wanted to live without struggling. Too many people out here are struggling. Your why also encourages trust, the trust within. It also infuses an element of grace in your life. It helps you find a flow in life, which is true. When you know that why, you're out there pursuing your goals and dreams, and you got that why, all of a sudden you get into that flow, and that flow can't stop you, man. You start to get all these yeses. You're feeling really good. You're feeling that momentum kicking in. That's things that are all created by your why. It makes life even more fun. That's the bottom line. You know your why, it makes it even more fun. Those are the benefits of knowing your why, extremely important. And if you don't know your why, put some thought into that. I challenge everybody I sit in front of to put some thought in that. Don't just tell me you want to make $500. Why do you want to make $500? What will that $500 do for you and your family? How will this $500 serve you and your family 5 years, 10 years, 20 years down the road? I need to know more than what your why is in making $500, right? Or $1,000. It can't be just a money figure. It's got to be more behind that. So knowing your why is important.
That was awesome, man. It'll make you live a value-based life. I love that, man. That's awesome. And when I hear that, I kind of think of almost like an internal GPS kind of. I mean, it's always the destination or the reason is always in the top of your mind, and it helps you stay on track, helps you, stay focused on why you're doing what you're doing. You don't ever lose sight of that. I like
That's
that.
right.
That's great, man. Well, thank you so much, man. I want to keep this fairly short. So if anybody has any questions, now will be the time to ask. Drop them in the chat or just unmute yourself if you want. And if not, we'll give it a minute here and then we'll end and get ready for the Sunday night stream.
Dun, 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 dun.
All right. I think we're good. I don't think anybody has any questions. So
Yeah,
thank you, everybody, for being on.
We got Sunday night stream at 8 o'clock, and then you got the Coaching Cowboy at 9, or no, that's the SD call at 9, and then Coaching Cowboy at 10. A lot of good calls tonight, gang. Get some prospects on there.
That's for sure. Yeah, stay plugged in, guys. It's important.
And get to Ignition.
Get to Ignition if you haven't already bought your ticket.
That's right. And if you haven't used them, those code tickets are expiring on the 31st of this month. So that's also important to know.
Okay. Thanks for that.
You bet.
Good to know. All right, guys. Well, thank you all for being on. Thank you, Jason, so much. Thank you, Tara. She had to run, but hopefully if she watches this, she'll see it. So thank you, everybody. Have a great Sunday, and I'll see you guys soon.
Thanks a lot, Steve. Take care, everybody.
See you guys.